welcome to Shirley's World. If you are new here, please feel free to stick around. I am Shirley. I usually talk about books on this channel. So let's get into it. I literally step back and assess my videos. Oh my god, I should really improve the way I review the books I read. I hope you would enjoy this review better than the rest of my other reviews. I read Like Water for Chocolate by Laura Esquivel in January of last year. So this had been a really long pending review. So let me first talk about the story setting. This reveals the 19th century Mexican culture. This happened in the late 19th century after the Civil War in the United States. This was the time rebels entered houses, took valuables, destroyed everything and raped all the women they saw. So women used to hide in the cellar when these revolutionary armies arrived. Even bandits could enter houses and rape all the women. So people used to have a shotgun to prevent anything bad from happening. This was the same time Mexican Revolution happened to create a strong central government. So the domestic life was like people slept on patios in the summer, they used earthenware, had no shower but bucket and pewter pitcher. They used tooth powder to brush their teeth, sort of everything was done from scratch, organic. So we follow a girl named Tita. Tita was born in 1895, a curious, innocent teenager. Her life started in kitchen, so she was happily bound to her skills with cooking. She has done all sorts of cleaning as well. She can really transform her emotion through cooking. That's her specialty. For instance, when she is sad, her tears fall into the food and that make everyone sad as well. The story revolves around De La Garza family from Piedras Negras Ranch in Mexico. This family was formed by obligation rather than love. Disobedience is not allowed. No one can question the parental authority. So the mother, everyone calls her Mama Elena, bossy, valiant, condescending, not showing feelings for others, a quite forceful Mexican parent. She rebukes and beats her children if they don't obey her commands. Basically, she torments her children. She was pro in cooking and now Tita. Tita is the younger, she has two elder sisters. The De La Garza family has silly inhuman tradition. The last girl child should take care of her mother until her death without marrying anyone. For instance, Tita has to make all the arrangements for her mama to bathe. She also has to wash her body and hair with specific instructive water and iron her clothes. She has to do this ritual until her death. No one else is allowed to do this because she is the youngest. Tita's misery hasn't finished it. She also has to wash her mama's stains. From this book you will learn how to wash the stains in a more disgusting way. Like this, Tita's life is subdued by her mama. But the rules and absurd tradition don't make sense to Tita. This all happened in the 19th century, so I don't expect Tita to be a rebel. Besides, Tita is passionately in love with her neighbor Pedro, a disgusting guy who doesn't have any idea about what is right and wrong. He has every audacity to tell anything at the wrong time. But her controlling mother forbids her marriage because of the silly tradition followed in the family. So the story is all about how the struggles Tita went through and to fight for her freedom and overstepping her family tradition to express herself. But I really felt sorry for the protagonist Tita. Whenever Mama Elena abandoned her, even if she tried to please her caring for her mother. But the Pedro and Tita's love absolutely was not explained well. I felt more of a lust, maybe infatuation than love. But I definitely understood Pedro was not the right guy for Tita. Tita was easily influenced by Pedro's lust and became amorous, spoiling her dignity. Pedro was like a predator. He wanted to swallow her. I couldn't agree their sexual impulses as love, but if I step back and see neither with a feminist eye nor as a modern reader, it was obvious their close proximity made them as lovebirds. I had to remind myself the communication was awful centuries ago. So I don't want to judge anyone. Still, I believe Pedro was filthy. But I love the aspect Tita loved or wanted Pedro with every fiber of her being for years. These two imperfect characters were really sexy and passionate in itself. However, I wish Tita was not influenced by Pedro's lust motive. And this book was originally written in Spanish in 1989 and translated into English. Each chapter has a recipe and the story of De La Gaze family. As it is written in the late 20th century, cooking, making anything from scratch, and preservation tips were informative. And it provoked me to try new dishes. I wouldn't say I'm a complete philistine in cooking, rather, I cook my own meals. Not a big fan of cooking either. Decades of romance is packed with all the emotion as domestic and historical fiction. I like this book for its kind. This is my first ever book on magical realism. Few of the time I failed to notice when her tears dropped into the food she cooked that made everyone nauseated, other time when her blood dropped into the food that made everyone horny. I didn't feel any difference because it was nicely blended into the story. I felt that's what the author might have intended the audience to feel. The story was compelling and it has all the ingredients to be a great book. I could see the pan ethnicity of Latin Americans here. It is strong and unique plot, short story, but captivated my attention throughout the story. It has free flowing narration and fast paced. I watched the 1992 movie. It is bit slow for 21st century I would say, but I still liked it. In this book the story is narrated by Tita's great grandkid. I love the way the story often has the analogy between the human emotions and cooking ingredients. I'm glad this 5-star read was my first book of 2024. I highly recommend this book. It is unique, fascinating, and fast paced. I think that's it. We came to the end of the review. I will meet you guys in another episode of Shirley's World. Until then, a lot of love and hugs.